What's going on, Hustle Nation, and welcome back to another video. If you aren't a part of Hustle Nation already yet, hit that button below for me and subscribe to the hustle. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Awair Element and Planetwatch and how these little things are just absolute cash machines. We'll also go over setting one up and how you can actually get your hands on one. So this is an air sensor that also doubles as basically a crypto miner. It's a pretty new and super exciting project that I am pretty stoked about. But before we get into it, as always, do your own research, please, before jumping into anything. And with that said, let's get into it. First, let's talk about Planetwatch, because they're the ones actually behind this whole project and actually paying people out. So Planetwatch is a European-based company with a mission focused on improving air quality worldwide. They believe there are not enough air sensors like this out there that really help monitor local air quality. So they basically decided to team up with manufacturers like Awair, who already make air sensors, right, to help monitor local air quality levels. Now you may be wondering, well, that's great, that's cool, but who cares? Well, apparently a lot of people care because millions of people die every year from air quality. And it's a serious issue, especially in today's times with pandemics, pollution, etc., right? So Planetwatch is collecting data from all these sensors they have, and they're able to sell that data for scientific purposes and also for business purposes. For example, they might be able to sell this data to a government agency looking to hold a big event in a city. If the air quality is really bad that day, then they can delay the event until the air quality is at a healthy level for the population. And there's a ton more reasons their data is super valuable, but we won't get into that on this video. But what makes their data also so important is that it's all real time, giving extremely accurate measurements, right? So Planetwatch essentially decided to gamify this idea of monitoring air quality levels in local areas to live a healthier life. So how this works, right, is users buy air sensors like this one right here, and we'll get into the different types in just a bit, but users buy sensors and immediately start monitoring air quality levels. In return, Planetwatch rewards its users with Planet tokens. And the tokens can actually already be traded into dollars, unlike some new mining projects where you can't get your money out for months, and it's the worst thing ever. So let's talk about the different types of sensors, tokenomics, how you can get your hands on one, and actually setting it up. Okay, so we're here on the Planetwatch website, which is just planetwatch.us. If you are in the US, I believe if you're not in the US, it's planetwatch.io. But here on the website, we can see the different sensors just by going to the sensor page right here. And we can see they actually have these split up currently into 4 different types of sensors. You have type 1 sensors, type 2, type 3, and type 4, which is what we have, right? The Awair Element right here is a type 4 sensor. Now, different sensors earn different rewards because some measure more data, like these type 1s. This is a premium outdoor sensor, right? So that data is going to be a lot more valuable than just my indoor sensor. A lot more valuable because it's going to measure a lot more different things that my little indoor sensor just can't measure. And let's go ahead now and talk about the tokenomics, and Planetwatch is pretty upfront about it and makes it super easy to understand. So if you go to the white paper right here, you can click on that. And fair warning, guys, just any project you get into, always read the white paper, because that's going to hold all the information you need to know about how the tokenomics work, how they pay out, and all that good stuff. So just always read the white paper. Now let's get into it. So let's start with type 4 sensor, because that's what I have right now. So the max daily rewards right here is 23 Planet tokens. And right now, Planet token is worth 35 cents. And if we just pull up our calculator here, because we do not do public math, that is 23.04 Planet tokens times that price, which comes out to about $8 a day is what this little miner right here is making. And that is pretty good for something that only costs $300. I am more than happy with that. And obviously that price can change, right, as the price of planets goes up. So now right here for the type 3 sensors, if we do that 30.8 Planet tokens times 35 cents, that's $10.78 a day. Now let's go ahead and talk about the type 1 and type 2 sensors. Now you see we have 2 different tiers here, tier 1 and tier 2. And that's because where these sensors are actually matter to the Planetwatch network, right? Whereas these type 3 and type 4 sensors like this, you can have these anywhere and it's not going to matter. Now, the main difference here is, as you can see, tier 1 is obviously going to be earning a whole lot more than tier 2. But tier 1, all this is tier 1s are going to be more heavily populated areas, or areas where for some reason the data for Planetwatch is going to be a lot more valuable for the team. And you can find the tier zones if you live in the tier zone by going to map.planetwatch.io. And if we scroll in here and scroll in a little bit more, we can click on show tier 1 areas right there. And all of these areas right here highlighted in purple are tier 1 areas. So if you deploy one of these, type 1 or type 2 sensors in one of these purple areas, you're going to be in the tier 1 area. Everything else and this just normal white area of the map is tier 2. So then we also have lead sensors and backup sensors. What this is basically is it wouldn't benefit the network or Planetwatch to have 4 of these type 1 premium sensors all within, this little like block right here, right? That's not going to benefit them because they're all measuring the exact same data. So there's lead sensors and backup sensors. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they determine which sensor in that area, say if there is 4 in that area, what becomes the lead sensor, but essentially, I'm guessing whichever sensor is providing the best information is going to become the lead sensors, and the other ones are going to become the backup and earn much less. As you can see, about 10 times less than what a lead sensor would earn. So for type 1, tier 1 pixels here, right here, we're going to look at 133 planet tokens times that 35 cents a day is $46 a day. That is pretty good right there. $46 a day. And then type 2 is 15.36 tokens times that 0.35 is almost $5.50 a day on that one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the different sensors and kind of break down the price and how much all of these cost. So this type 1 sensor here, and these are the big boys, right? This is the one that's making you about $50 a day. And that is going to cost you about $1,649. And I mean, you make that back in almost a month at the current rate right now, right? Because you're making $50 a day times 30 days is $1,500. So you just about in 1 month, you've just about ROI'd on the actual cost of your sensor. And that is pretty good. But in order to get this right now, there is a big wait list. You actually have to buy one of the licenses first, which we'll go over in just a second, the licenses. But I think right now the wait list on this is over like 2,000 people. And then once it's available for you and it hits your spot on the waiting list, you'll get an email that's going to shipped out to you. And then you'll actually pay the full cost of the miner. But right now, upfront, all you have to pay is the license fee. Now we'll go over here and there's the type 2, this one, which is no longer being made. Then over here, this type 3 sensors, the SenseEdge Mini, and this is $649, which is not that bad. And same thing though, right now, this is also on a wait list. You have to buy the license first and get on the wait list. And I think this one is also pretty long, probably over 1,500 or 2,000 people as well. Then there's the type 4s right here, the Atmotube Pro, and I actually did buy one of these. It should be here in a few days. And then right here, we also have the Awair Element. So right now, the Atmotube, these are actually pretty pricey. They're $349, and the Awairs are $300 right now as well. And again, the Awair Element is the one I have right now. And these prices have definitely risen. I mean, a couple months ago, the Atmotube Pro was like $200 something. And the Awair Element, you could buy it for like $150 on Amazon. So prices have nearly doubled for both of these sensors. And you know what? I definitely expect to see these continue to rise as well in price. I also have 4 more of these Awair Elements coming along with also the Atmotube Pro I said as well. Hopefully those get here sooner than later, but for the Awair Element, the shipments is about 12 weeks out. For the Atmotubes, these ones you can buy. You have to get on their newsletter, but they do limited drops, but they're really hard to get on the drops because bots snag these up. I was really lucky to snag one, and it should be here in a couple days, so I am pretty pumped about that. Now, lastly with these, let's talk about the licenses. You have to buy these licenses, and all the license does is basically just allows this to connect to the Planetwatch blockchain, which allows you to get your planet tokens. So you have to buy the license if you want to actually make any money with these. So right now, the Type 4 license, which is what I need because I have the Atmotube and the Awairs, right? So that's for the Type 4 sensors. And what right now, the Type 4 license is costs $42, Type 3 costs $60, Type 2 costs $42, and Type 1 costs $300. And remember that Type 1 is just a waiting list as well as with that Type 3, they're both just waiting lists. So I mean, for a $300 miner here, guys, plus that $42 license fee, you're making about almost $10 a day. You're going to ROI pretty fast in less than 2 months, right? Which is crazy. These little things can make that much. And as more people obviously hear about this project and hear about the token, I definitely expect this price to rise. I mean, we're still pretty early to this. They only launched back in the middle of September, so they've only been around about 3 months, almost 4 months. And the market cap is really low on this still. So we are definitely still early to this game, and as the price of this token continues to go up, I just know that they are going to continue to rise the price of these actual elements or these miners, because the ROI is just going to be super good. So it'd still be a no-brainer if this costs $600, you would ROI in 2 months instead of 1 month, right? So I definitely think right now, before they keep raising these prices, it's a pretty good time to get in while things are still fairly cheap. And I definitely think this is a great project to get into. I mean, the air quality monitoring market is expected to reach around $6 billion in value by 2026. So there's a ton of room to grow in this market. And then yes, obviously there is the fact that while getting into a project like this early is inherently risky, the reward will be huge if this project actually takes off. I mean, net market cap is so low on this, and the price is still so low, and not that many people are actually talking about this yet. So I think there's still a ton of room for this to grow. And another reason why I think this has a ton of room to grow is imagine how, you know, on your weather app, right? I'll put up a screenshot here or a screenshot or whatever. On your weather app, you can see what your actual air quality level is. And right now, Breezometer has a licensing agreement with the Apple weather app that reports the air quality. And while, yeah, their reporting is good, imagine though if Planetwatch is able to, you know, get a licensing deal with the weather app or other big weather apps, right? That would be huge for the network and huge just for them, because think about it, they definitely have the upper hand here, because as you can see on this map, they have a ton of sensors out here already. You can zoom in and kind of see more areas where there's a lot more of these, right? So they have a ton of sensors out here, and imagine when this is all filled up with way more sensors, they're gonna be able to provide hyper-local data with all these different sensors, making their monitoring levels a lot more valuable to like different weather apps, right? So I definitely think they have the upper hand here, and overall I think it's just a really amazing project here that has an actual real world impact, and that's why I get into these projects. Similar to the Helium network, which has a real world impact, I like to get into these projects because they actually affect my day-to-day life and other people's day-to-day lives, and I think that gives them a lot more value than some other different mining projects out there. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump into unboxing the sensor and setting it all up. Alright, so let's go ahead and open this bad boy up and find out kind of what we got inside here, the box, and then we'll jump into actually setting it up and linking it to our app and all of that. It's definitely not the most efficient way to do this, but it'll do the job. And here it is. And this is actually a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. I saw a video on YouTube about this, but I mean, for comparison's sake here, here's my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and here's the sensor, and my iPhone is actually a little bit taller than the sensor, which is actually surprising. I thought this was gonna be a lot bigger, but I kind of like it. It's really nice and sleek, and on the back here, there's nothing really there. You have, obviously I'm covering my barcode so you can't try and set up my sensor, but yeah, the back, you just have your USB-C port right there and nothing else really there. You got 2 buttons on the back you can also press, but nothing crazy. Then what else is in the box is just your cord, a little brick right there, and then you have your setup instruction. I'm going to actually be putting this sensor at my parents' house, as I have ordered a different one, the Atmotube, to keep here at my own personal house. So let's go ahead and go get this set up now. Before we plug it in and everything, get that going, what we need to do is we need to head over here to your app store on your phone, whether it's Google Play or just the App Store. Look up the Awair Home app and go ahead and download that. Then once you got that downloaded, you're going to come to this page right here, and you're going to need to set up an Awair account. Now, it's really important that when you set this up, you use the exact same email you use over on the Planetwatch system setting up your Planetwatch accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up here with an account on Awair with the exact same email I use on Planetwatch. Okay, now that we've set that all up, we can go ahead and plug in the Awair sensor here. So it's super easy. We'll just go ahead and plug in that USB-C cable. And as you'll see, we'll get some lights here right on the front. We'll go ahead and wait a second. And we are looking for this blue indicator light, meaning that it is ready for pairing. So we'll come back over here to the Awair app. We'll click Add Device, allow it to use Bluetooth, find Awair, and now we need to connect it to our Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the Wi-Fi. Okay, now we got that connected to our Wi-Fi, and that's indicated by a solid purple light right there. So now we can go ahead and continue this setup here. We'll enter in a few more information like address and whatnot. And just like that, now it's just going to walk us through all the things that this app can do, kind of how this works. As you can see here, it's going to show all different kinds of levels, show your temperature, humidity, CO2, chemicals in the air, and your particles as well. And that is indicated right here, right now. and this will update. But right now, as you can see, we have an 84 on the scale, which is pretty good for the air quality in here. You can also change what the display looks like. So as you can see, by clicking that, now it says temperature, humidity levels, right? So you can get all different kinds of readings here. You can also set it that way it's only displaying the clock at all times. But now that that's connected, now we can go ahead and jump on over to the Planetwatch app. Now on the Planetwatch app, we're gonna go ahead and click add. We're gonna add a Type 4 sensor because that's the license we have. And in your app, it will show up if you already have your licenses. So right there, that number 2 means I have 2 licenses available to use, and that would be the Type 4. You see I have 2. I also have the Atmotube Pro coming soon this week, like I mentioned. But let's go ahead and set up the Awair Element. And we're going to need to sign into that Awair account now with that same email we just signed up with just a second ago. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And now that we're signed in, as you can see right here, it already popped up with Parents Living Room, what we named it in the Awair app. And I have already created a wallet address specifically for this house. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But I'm going to be creating different wallet addresses for different sensors. So the one I have at my personal house will have its own wallet, and all the other sensors I have will all each have their own wallets just to make it easier for tracking. Then go ahead and you just fill out your address information right here and you should be good to go. There it goes, license added successfully. And that is really all there is to it. And like I said earlier, I have made a video of the step-by-step process as well as how to actually buy those licenses off Planetwatch, how to get Planet tokens, how to set up an algo wallet, and all of that other good stuff. Step-by-step tutorial. I am making another video and I'll link that down in the description below for you to check out. So let's go ahead and jump back to the studio. So that's all to today's video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm pretty excited about this project, actually. I can't wait to see where it goes over the next year or so. So let me know down below what other projects I should be on the lookout for. And also, if you want a more in-depth video of me setting up the sensor, buying the license, buying Planet tokens, all that stuff, getting the right wallet set up, I'll leave links down below to the in-depth step-by-step videos. And that's it. So as always, I'll see you on the next one.